What happens when one of Hollywood's most respected actors sits down for what should be a routine late-night interview, only to discover his host has completely different plans? It only took 37 seconds of Stephen Colbert's opening remarks to transform a simple promotional appearance into the most shocking television meltdown in recent memory. Picture this. The Late Show's familiar blue and red stage lights dim as the audience settles into their seats. Denzel Washington, impeccably dressed in a charcoal suit, walks out with his trademark confident stride. The crowd erupts in applause. This is supposed to be easy, just another stop on the press tour, but something feels different tonight. Stephen Colbert, usually all smiles and practiced charm, has a strange glint in his eye as he shakes Denzel's hand. The handshake lingers a beat too long. Colbert's grip is firmer than necessary. As they both take their seats, you can almost feel the tension crackling through the television screen. "Denzel Washington, everybody?" Colbert announces to another wave of applause, but his tone carries an edge that makes the veteran actor's eyebrows raise slightly. "The man who thinks he can do no wrong in Hollywood." The audience laughs nervously. Denzel chuckles politely, but his media-trained instincts are already telling him something is off. This isn't how these interviews usually start. "Well, Stephen, I wouldn't say that," Denzel responds with his characteristic measured tone. "I think we all make mistakes. That's how we grow." Colbert leans back in his chair, a smirk playing at the corners of his mouth. "Oh, but you've been pretty vocal lately about other people's mistakes, haven't you? Particularly when it comes to young actors who don't have your advantages." The word advantages hangs in the air like smoke. Denzel's expression shifts almost imperceptibly. His shoulders straighten. Anyone who knows him well would recognize this as a warning sign. "I'm not sure what you're referring to, Stephen. I try to support young talent whenever I can." "Support?" Colbert's laugh is sharp, cutting. "Is that what you call it when you publicly criticize method actors for being too intense? When you suggest that some people in this industry don't deserve the roles they get?" The audience is dead silent now. This isn't the playful banter they came to see. Denzel's jaw tightens slightly, but his voice remains steady. "I think there might be some confusion here. I've never said anything like that publicly." "Haven't you, though?" Colbert pulls out a stack of papers from beneath his desk with theatrical flourish. "Because I have quotes here that paint a very different picture of the great Denzel Washington." Now Denzel is fully alert. His decades of experience on camera have taught him to read a room, and this room has turned hostile. But he's not backing down. "Stephen, I'd be happy to discuss any comments I've actually made, but I'm not going to sit here while you put words in my mouth." "Putting words in your mouth?" Colbert's voice rises. "These are your words, Denzel, from interviews, from industry events. Should I read them?" The veteran actor leans forward slightly. His voice drops to that low, controlled register that every moviegoer recognizes. It's the voice he uses right before his characters take decisive action. "Go ahead and read whatever you think you have there, Stephen. But let's be clear about something first. I came here tonight to talk about my work, to connect with your audience, and to have a respectful conversation. If that's not what you want, then maybe we should end this right now." The challenge is thrown down. Colbert's eyes light up with something that looks almost predatory. He's been waiting for this moment. "Oh no, Denzel, we're just getting started. You see, I think your audience deserves to know who you really are behind all that dignified public persona." "And who am I, Stephen?" Denzel's voice is dangerously quiet now. Someone who thinks success gives him the right to look down on everyone else. Someone who's forgotten where he came from. The accusation hits like a physical blow. Denzel's eyes flash, and for just a moment, the careful composure cracks. But instead of exploding, he does something even more powerful. He gets very, very still. "You know what, Stephen? I've been in this business for over 40 years. I've worked with legends and newcomers. I've made mistakes and I've had successes. But one thing I've never done is sit in judgment of someone based on gossip and half-truths." His voice carries the weight of decades of experience, of respect earned through talent and professionalism. The audience can feel the shift happening. "Half-truths?" Colbert sputters, clearly not expecting this level of pushback. "These are documented statements." "Then document them properly," Denzel says, his tone now carrying just a hint of steel. "Because what you're doing right now isn't journalism. It isn't entertainment. It's just mean-spirited." The words land with devastating precision. Colbert's confident smirk wavers for the first time since the interview began. Colbert's confident smirk wavers, but he's not ready to back down. If anything, Denzel's composed pushback seems to fuel his determination to break through that legendary calm. "Mean-spirited?" Colbert's voice takes on a mocking tone. I'm just asking the tough questions that other interviewers are too starstruck to ask. Isn't that what good television is supposed to be about? The audience shifts uncomfortably in their seats. This isn't the Stephen Colbert they know. This version feels desperate, almost unhinged. Denzel regards him with a kind of steady gaze that has intimidated countless directors and co-stars over the years. When he speaks, his voice carries the authority of someone who has never needed to prove himself through cheap shots. Good television is about connecting with people, Stephen. It's about honest conversation, not ambush tactics designed to create viral moments. Viral moments? Colbert laughs, but there's a brittle edge to it now. Is that what you think this is? Maybe you're right. Maybe this will go viral. Maybe people will finally see what I see. And what exactly do you see? The question hangs in the air like a challenge. Colbert leans forward, his media-trained composure completely abandoned now. I see someone who's been coasting on respect he earned decades ago. Someone who thinks his legacy protects him from having to answer real questions about his recent choices. Denzel's eyebrows raise slightly. My recent choices? The roles you've taken? The statements you've made? The way you've positioned yourself as some kind of moral authority in an industry that chews people up and spits them out? Now the veteran actor does something that catches everyone off guard. He smiles. Not a polite interview smile, but a genuine expression of amusement. Stephen, do you hear yourself right now? You're attacking me for what exactly? For choosing roles I believe in? For speaking honestly about my experiences? For trying to maintain some integrity in a business that doesn't always reward it? The smile disappears as quickly as it came. Because if that's what bothers you about me, then I think we've identified the real problem here. Colbert's face flushes red. The careful lighting of the studio seems harsh now, highlighting every line of tension around his eyes. The real problem? The real problem is actors like you who think they're untouchable, who think they can say whatever they want without consequences. What consequences, Stephen? Denzel's voice is deadly quiet now. What consequences am I supposed to face for doing my job with professionalism and treating people with respect? For acting like you're better than everyone else? The words explode out of Colbert with shocking vehemence. The audience audibly gasps. This has crossed every line of professional broadcast behavior. Denzel sits back in his chair, and for a long moment, he just studies his host. When he finally speaks, his voice carries the weight of disappointment rather than anger. Is that really what you think, Stephen? That I act like I'm better than everyone else? Don't you? Colbert shoots back, but some of his fire is already fading. Even he seems to realize he's gone too far. No, Denzel says simply. I act like someone who's grateful for every opportunity I've been given, who's worked hard to honor that gift, and who's tried to use whatever platform I have to lift other people up. He pauses, letting that sink in. But more importantly, I act like someone who was raised to treat others with basic human decency, even when they don't extend me the same courtesy. The rebuke is delivered without malice, but it lands with devastating impact. Colbert opens his mouth to respond, then closes it again. You know what the difference is between us right now, Stephen? Denzel continues, his voice growing stronger. I came here tonight ready to have a conversation. You came here ready for a fight. And I have to ask myself why. Why? Colbert's voice cracks slightly. Why you felt the need to attack me personally instead of engaging with my work. Why you thought ambushing a guest would make for good television. Why you're so angry at someone you've never even had a real conversation with before tonight. Each question hits like a precision strike. Colbert's earlier confidence is completely gone now, replaced by something that looks almost like panic. I'm not angry, he protests weakly. Aren't you? Denzel's gaze doesn't waver. Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you're furious about something. And whatever that something is, it has nothing to do with me. The silence that follows is deafening. The audience, the crew, everyone in that studio can feel the complete reversal of power that's just taken place. Colbert, who started this interview as the aggressor, now looks like a man who's been completely outmaneuvered by someone who never raised his voice or lost his temper. I think, Colbert says finally, his voice barely above a whisper, maybe we should take a commercial break. Denzel shakes his head slowly. No, Stephen, I think we should finish this conversation. Your audience deserves better than what you've given them so far tonight. And honestly, so do you. Denzel's refusal to allow the commercial break sends a visible shock through Colbert. The host's eyes dart toward his producers off stage, but there's no escape route. The veteran actor has just taken complete control of the situation. Your audience deserves better, Denzel repeats, his voice carrying the kind of quiet authority that fills movie theaters. They came here expecting to be entertained, maybe to learn something. Instead, you've given them a performance that says more about your character than mine. Colbert's mouth opens and closes like a fish out of water. All his earlier bravado has evaporated, leaving behind someone who looks genuinely lost. "I was just trying to do my job," he stammers. "No," Denzel says firmly. "Your job is to interview guests, to create engaging television, to serve your audience. What you've been doing tonight is using your platform to work through some personal issue you have with me or with what you think I represent." The words hit their mark. Colbert visibly flinches. "And here's what bothers me most about it, Stephen," Denzel continues, leaning forward slightly. "You've got one of the best platforms in television. You could use this time to have real conversations, to explore ideas, to help people understand each other better. Instead, you chose to ambush someone who came here in good faith." "I didn't ambush you," Colbert protests, but even he doesn't sound convinced. "Really?" Denzel's eyebrows raise. "Then what would you call starting an interview by telling your guest he thinks he can do no wrong? What would you call pulling out mysterious papers and making accusations you can't back up? What would you call attacking someone's character based on things they never actually said?" Each question lands like a body blow. The audience is completely silent now, hanging on every word. They're witnessing something unprecedented. A guest completely dismantling a host's credibility in real time. If that's not an ambush, then what is it, Stephen? Colbert's face has gone from red to pale. His hands shake slightly as he reaches for his water glass. "I thought I was being a journalist," he says quietly. "No." Denzel's response is immediate and devastating. Journalists deal in facts. They ask tough questions based on research and evidence. They challenge their subjects fairly and give them room to respond. What you've been doing is character assassination based on rumors and personal bias. The distinction is razor sharp, and everyone in the studio feels it. Colbert looks like a man who's just realized he's been caught in a lie, he told himself. "But more than that," Denzel continues, his voice gaining momentum, "you've shown complete disrespect for your audience. You think they came here to watch you tear someone down? You think they tune in to see you work through your personal grudges? It's not personal." Colbert tries one last desperate protest. "Everything about tonight has been personal, Stephen. The way you looked at me when I walked out, the tone in your voice from the very first question, the obvious pleasure you took in trying to make me uncomfortable. That's not professional behavior, that's personal animosity." Denzel pauses, letting the weight of his words settle over the studio. "And I have to wonder what I ever did to earn that kind of treatment from you. Because, until tonight, we were strangers." The question hangs in the air like a challenge Colbert can't meet. His shoulders sag slightly, the fight completely gone out of him. "I don't know," he admits in a voice so quiet the microphones barely pick it up. "You don't know?" Denzel repeats. "You put me through this whole ordeal. You disrespected your audience. You damaged your own reputation, and you don't even know why." The silence that follows is crushing. Colbert stares down at his desk, unable to meet Denzel's steady gaze. "Stephen, look at me," Denzel says, his voice softer now but no less commanding. Reluctantly, Colbert raises his eyes. "I've been in this business long enough to know that everyone's fighting battles we can't see. Everyone's dealing with pressures and insecurities that sometimes make us act in ways we're not proud of. But the measure of who we are isn't whether we make mistakes. It's what we do after we realize we've made them." For a moment, something like hope flickers in Colbert's eyes. "You have a choice right now," Denzel continues. "You can double down on this behavior, or you can be better than what you've shown tonight. You can treat your next guest with the respect they deserve. You can remember that your platform is a privilege, not a weapon." Colbert nods slowly, like a student receiving a lesson he desperately needs to learn. "But I won't be here to see what choice you make," Denzel says, standing up from his chair with fluid grace. "Because I didn't come here to be anyone's punching bag, and I won't stay to be part of whatever this was supposed to accomplish." The audience watches in stunned silence as Denzel begins removing his microphone. "Denzel, please." Colbert finally finds his voice, but it comes out as barely more than a whisper. "Don't go. We can start over." Denzel pauses, his hand still on the microphone clip. For a moment, everyone in the studio holds their breath. "No, Stephen, we can't start over, because your audience has already seen who you chose to be tonight. And more importantly, you've seen who you chose to be." He places the microphone carefully on his chair and looks directly into the main camera. "I want to apologize to everyone who tuned in tonight expecting something better. You deserved a real conversation, not whatever this was. Thank you for your time." With that, Denzel Washington walks off the Late Show stage, leaving behind a host who looks like he's just watched his career implode in real time. The audience doesn't know whether to applaud or sit in stunned silence. They choose silence, and it speaks louder than any ovation ever could.